The book of Acts, the 12th chapter. I'll be reading from the Amplified version, so it may read just a little different. But the book of Acts, chapter 12, and I'm going to start at verse 13 for the sake of time. And when he knocked at the gate of the porch, a maid named Rhoda came to answer. Verse 14, and recognized Peter's voice. In her joy, she failed to open the gate, but ran and told the people that Peter was standing before the porch gate. Verse 15, they said to her, you are crazy. But she persistently and strongly, confidently affirmed that it was the truth. They said, it's an angel. Verse 16, but meanwhile Peter continued knocking. And when he opened the gate and they saw him, they were amazed. Amen.
Amen.
Let us go to Acts chapter 16. Acts chapter 16 and verse 25. The King James Version starts off saying that and at midnight, but the Amplified Version says about midnight, as Paul and Silas was praying and singing hymns of praise to God, and the other prisoners were listening to them. Verse 26, suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the very foundation of the prison were shaken. And at once, look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, neighbor. And at once. And at once all the doors were open, and everyone's shackles were unfastened. Verse 27, and when the jailer, startled out of his sleep, saw the prison doors were open, he drew his sword and was on the point of killing himself because he supposed that the prisoners had escaped. Verse 28, but Paul shouted, do thyself no harm, for we are all here. Verse 29, the jailer called for lights and rushed in, and trembling and terrified, he fell before Paul and Silas. And he brought them out of the dungeon and said, men, what is it necessary for me to do that I may be saved? In the King James Version, he says, sirs, what must I do to be saved? Verse 31,